Good morning and welcome to our first stream of the Indie Arena Gamescom mix-up that will happen completely digitally this time. So you will see a lot of us streaming today and tomorrow. So welcome. Today we will have an exclusive look at El Hijo, a Wild West tale. Joining us today will be our developers, which we will introduce pretty much, I would say, right now. So let's switch over to our Discord. One moment. Hello, guys. Can you hear us?
I'm from Berlin.
Ah, okay. So it is working. You should see those lovely people from Berlin. Yeah, so introduce yourselves maybe. Let's start simple.
Ladies first.
That's me. Hey, come on. So good morning. First of all, before introducing, we say thank you for Handy Game or two Handy Games to do this with us, and also thank you very much for the preparation. It has been a wild ride, but I think it's all coming together, and we're really happy. My name is Maria Grau-Stenzel. I'm part of the Honig team. I'm dealing with the team. I'm the creative producer, and we, now you go ahead. I don't know what to say.
Well, that was a good start so far.
Hello, I'm Stefan. I'm the lead programmer on the game. That's basically it. I deal with all the technical questions, issues, ideas, and all the creative input into a computer. So,
Fair enough. Definitely.
Good morning also from my side. I'm Yanis. I started Honig Studios together with Fede a few years ago. And I work also obviously on El Hijo, being like the technical producer, like the connection between Stefan and the team and the technical side of stuff.
Nice. So we got that ahead, but you know what we forgot? We forgot
to introduce
ourselves. So quick heads up. Hi, I'm Jan. This is Felix, and yeah, we are the hosts, obviously, for this stream.
Yep.
Cool. Off to a great start. Nice. Okay, so Honig Studios. You're located in Berlin. How big is the studio in total? How many guys are you over there?
We are 12 people, all on El Hijo the last 3-4 years, I would say. So we're all based here. Actually, one is in London.
Ali is in London.
One is in London. The rest of us are all here in Berlin.
I didn't even know that. It's interesting insight. I didn't know.
Well, we could also learn something from this stream.
I guess,
it's okay. Cool.
But this is exception. We have been all in different places within Berlin, so it doesn't really matter if you're in London or if you're in Neukölln, in Karlshorst. It doesn't matter.
Well, the last month, anyhow.
Yes, definitely. I mean, sure. Speaking about the last months, you were also definitely impacted by that, I would say. So you guys are probably also working from home, most of them, or have been working from home. I mean, right now we are kind of sliding into a back to normal kind of approach. But I guess it was also difficult for you, right?
Yeah, I think it was a new way of dealing with each other, with a project, how to communicate. It was a special new thing for, I don't know, it sounds really bad. We never communicate, but now we did. No, but it's a big thing to talk to someone in person and explain the things than over the phone, over emails, and it sometimes can come to misunderstandings. And it is really good if you're there and you talk in person, in flesh.
Yes.
And I think that was is the nicest thing now, to come back to the office and see each other and working together again.
Yes, definitely. This is also something that we can definitely agree on. I mean, of course, we also had to, restructure everything pretty quickly, but in the end, I must say, it's easier to just stand together behind one screen and talk about stuff than, everyone is sitting on their screen and you're doing some screen sharing or whatever. And we have some fans from Brazil. No, speak English. Oh, well. Good morning, John Mello.
There will be some videos and pictures of Honig's development process of the game soon, so...
Oh, you know what? We could also, since we were talking about the team, we can...
So these are the 12 people you talked about, probably in your studio in Berlin, I guess?
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much the same background that we see right now, so we definitely can say where it's located. That's cool.
So a question that comes to mind for me is, are you actually using, it looks like a chalkboard there, are you using it for like game development, like discussing design ideas and approaches?
Totally. We had the idea that at the end of a process or a workshop, it will look beautiful with wonderful concept art and we will take pictures. But at the end of the day, it always looks ugly and so this is actually discussing Hijo stuff, but no one can understand it but us.
It's the quick,
No,
quick scratches.
It's an entire wall, and we have another wall as well. So it is really good to quickly come together and maybe have a little drawing, and you'd say, "Hey, this was the idea, the setup, and so forth."
It's also something that's good to come back to from the home office time, right? So you can just gather some people and stand to the wall, draw some things, explore some ideas. It's actually a pretty fun concept, I think. It's pretty good to get that out there real quick, have it sketched, and then put it into the game.
The thing
What's
is,
not so funny is that we have all kids, or most of us, quite a few have kids, and then they come and use the chalk and then start drawing within it, and then it was like, "Oh, what a marvelous idea!"
No, that's great. Nice, okay. So before we head over too much into deep development and production, maybe let's talk about the game. I think that would also be a great idea. So what exactly is El Hijo? What is the story about the game?
Okay, El Hijo is a non-violent stealth game. It is set in the Wild West, and it deals about a little boy called El Hijo that was left behind in a monastery by his mother after their farm got burned down by really evil bandits. They have another choice but leave him there to protect him. But as you can imagine, a little boy of 6 that is 6 years old, he doesn't want to stay in a monastery and be educated. He wants to leave, he wants to get out, and he wants to get back to his mother. And El Hijo is 30 levels of gameplay. You have the first 10 levels within the monastery, then afterwards he goes through the desert because he wants to go back to his mother, and then you have another 10 levels within the villain town.
What you see in the background was some images from in-game already. You could see him sneaking through a kitchen and through a big labyrinth, pretty much, where he has to find his way through, solving a few puzzles. So, looking pretty good this far, I think.
Yeah, I mean, besides puzzles, there's also a lot of other features, I would suppose, for El Hijo. I mean, you know, talking about as I wouldn't know the game, but of course I know the game. So, but you know, it's just. So, what other features are there besides puzzling and stealth gameplay?
What is really nice, we are trying to make a lot of connection between like the story, between the gameplay and the artwork, and it is like a coming of age story that El Hijo develops. So it develops the game, develops the music, everything is connected and thought of, that you as a player want to evolve as well. As this little boy at the beginning, you're more timid, you're hiding more, then later on you start to throw things, you find your slingshot and you find different toys that you can use to manipulate your opponents and sneak through the different levels.
I think this is also important that you said manipulate the opponents, because as mentioned earlier, it's a non-violent stealth game, so the emphasis is really on to, you know, get through all the levels without, you know, killing basically everyone. And was that something that was in your mind, like from the get-go, that they were like, okay, no, we want to do a non-violent game, screw all the killing and shooting and whatever there is already in the games, or is this something that evolved?
No, it was not. It was a clear thing that was straight from the beginning. And I think that's also one of the parts why we said it's a little boy, because, I mean, yeah, imagine you're in a usual stealth game, you are a secret agent, or you have some
Yes.
weapons, shoot people, and you have a knife and you kill people. And we have like more this innocent character that is moving around through an environment that is really hostile. And that's what the idea was, that Hijo needs to come out, develop, and find ways to sneak through the environment. I think, Yanis, you watched originally the movie from Jodorowsky.
That's why it's called El Hijo, because the movie of Jodorowsky is called El Topo.
Uh-huh.
And El Topo starts with the father bringing his son into a monastery and saying, "You're now a grown man, goodbye." And the whole movie is about the father. So the idea was, okay, let's tell the story of the boy.
Okay. That's also cool. Didn't know that. It's great.
And I think the movie itself is quite violent.
It's extra violent.
It's really, really
buckets of blood.
So for us, it was to try to, no, we don't want this. We want to focus on the stealth thing, sneaking around, and and I think it came out very well.
Yeah. It's also throughout the games, I think you start in a monastery with the monks, and later on you also get to have weapons. And I still like the approach that you don't default to violence, or at some point you just get violent as well, because for me at least, in every stealth game at some point I'm like, why don't I just shoot this guy to get past? And here you don't have the opportunity, so you really have to think about, how can I get around these guys without actually harming anybody? Like, where do I need to send them to, or how do I need to influence them or manipulate them to get past, which is, it's a very nice concept, I have to say.
Definitely. So, now, when we were talking about the monastery and, you know, how this game got together, I think this is also maybe a good point to talk about, like, the development. Because we mentioned, did we mention, I mean, yeah, that it was starting as a kids game. So you started with some... Is this correct? Those are like Duplo, Lego type bricks, basically, where you made your very first concepts with.
Highly elaborated, like the images behind. No, we need to think two things as well. We have a character that is a kid, but the game is not for small children. This is something that always put together, and this is not true. Like the fact it is non-violent, but you need a certain maturance or a certain mindset in order to be able to solve the game, the puzzles. So I'm thinking it's it's a bit it's not for small children, the game. And now that we show Duplo, this was us
well
trying to get our mind around the actual gameplay. Like, this was the first time we actually met in order to try to find out how could the puzzle work. This was before we actually wrote the first application to the Median board. Hijo was funded by the Median board, and we had to give them an idea of what the gameplay is. And that's why we came together and we sat down and we played with Duplo.
And from that, it also grew a bit more serious from the Duplo, because here I can see that you gave the bricks, the real life bricks, some, virtual value, basically. That you said, okay, this little triangle thingy here will be El Hijo with 1 unity meter in distance. What does that actually mean, like 1 unity meter?
Let's say, but I'm so many years now into this. It's pretty hard to explain this easy question.
Well, I'm sorry.
You have a 3D world. In this 3D world, you have also some kind of measurement and in real world we're using meters. So in Unity we have also in this 3D world meters. So we're using these meters to estimate the distances, and yeah.
I think for us it's really important to that we know with this, or like what you see here seems really simple, but Hijo is a certain height. Then the objects need to be a certain height so that you can hide behind. The monks are a certain height that they can see you from certain positions or not. The line of sight that the monk is having to see needs to be blocked out by certain objects. So you are constantly, this seems really simple, but for us, Elijo in the production chain 20 centimeters, like it's not a big, he was like a meter, but then the act we had to adjust everything by like a little bit was insane. Like it was really something really important. That's why we put it in there. And no, we had the size of the monastery, the doors, the monks wouldn't be able to go through anymore because Elijo changed in size. The monks had to change in size, and it was just,
Especially the proportions was an interesting thing when we started with where can you crouch, where are you visible, what are completely blocking, also visually from the camera perspective. So when you see these isometric view that we have, what is a height that also the player from the isometric view estimates as it's high enough to cover. And this was, especially these scale that you see, the monks are much bigger than Elijo in the world in this scale, and the other NPCs too, was pretty interesting to figure out, especially physically.
I think the other thing that you would never think is something is something weird is shadow. Shadow is not equal shadow, and I think we can tell stories about how dark a shadow can be, that you can see, how dark that you will be seen, and shadow inside, shadow outside. Yeah, we only have an hour, but otherwise
it's also something we can see later on and maybe pick up, because we're going to play a little bit later, and then it's also something we can like show the viewers in the game then where the difficulty lies that you're just talking about, because for us it's easy to see what you're talking about, but if you haven't seen the game before, it's not that easy to grasp this concept, I think. So let's pick up later once in the game, then we can just come back to this whole height and sizing.
Yeah, I think that would be
an interesting topic.
Yeah, definitely. So we also have some different concept art. Tell us about this little scene here. Is this one of the earlier concepts about like one of the bandit camps, I would suppose?
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to? I should do.
Sure. Yeah, our process was basically the level designers together with the artists were sitting for every level, and we're sketching it on paper, like just the architecture, so that it works in terms of gameplay, of course, and it also works in terms of visual. And once this architecture was done, then the artist was doing not the whole level, because some levels are very vast, some are small, they're in confined spaces, are very vast. So this one is a big level actually. But he was creating snapshots of some of the mood, of the moments of that level to give the mood.
Which would look like something like this. Correct?
Exactly. So that's
basically the level.
Yeah, this is actually from the first layer was a sketch he did with the level designers, and then he started drawing on top of that, basically.
What we can see here is actually a few levels, right? It's just the whole context of a set of a few levels where you play each segment after each other. So you will make your way through the cathedral or the church, the monastery, to the garden, and then from there try to escape further into the vastness and the wilderness, like you said, further down.
All the levels are, we have actually a very vast map of all the levels, starting from your room where you start level 1 going down the monastery, so all of them are actually connected, and then the desert and so on.
I think it's one of the last images that we will see. This was our guidance from the beginning, pretty much. That
the map, yeah.
the map, that we wanted to make a connection, no? That it's not that you're there and suddenly you're there. It should make sense that he's
The
making
map.
this.
I don't know whether
Sure,
I
if
have
it's-
the map.
I'm not sure.
See, we have.
Then-
I mean, we have something for the view cones. We have the minecart.
Yeah, this was also interesting technically. How much can they actually see, the monks, and how much do they rotate? And
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, you can switch back to the field of
Yes.
view. Like this. It's probably, I imagine, like now they have this classic side radius that they see. Did you ever think about having them like reach around them? Like how much thought went into where can they reach you? Because you said about the sizing and, for example, do they notice if you're pressed against the wall next to them, for example? Because that's also something that you probably have to think about. Because if I sneak past them on the other side of wall, maybe they can't see me, but they would maybe notice. So is that something that went much thought into that? How you want to approach this?
Let's say we started first to make it pretty realistic. So each noise and each scatter and everything was pretty harsh on the player to be that he's judged on. And then we started to simplify it and using the basic rules. So saying, okay, we have the vision cone. It's pretty easy for the player to understand. So this area is a thing where the NPCs get attention and chasing him. And then he has a near body radius, we call it. This is basically the area that you definitely get catch. So if you're too near an NPC, you definitely get caught on the puzzles.
And then there's also sound, right? So monks do notice if you sprint past them, if you move objects near to them. So that's also something to keep in mind during the puzzles, because you can not just move objects out of the way in front of them, they will, or behind them, they will notice, they will hear that you're there and try to catch you.
yeah, and Elijo, when he runs or walks fast, he makes noise. So you also need to be really careful how you plan if you run through the level.
Cool. I mean, should we maybe fire up the game now?
I mean, we could. We can still talk about the game while we're playing the game, right?
No, this is out of the question.
I cannot play. I need to concentrate, but you guys can.
Definitely. Okay, then let me go to this scene over here.
Yes, well, I set everything up.
And you can set it up.
Put that in here.
Now you can just minimize that.
This is the scene we just saw drawn, that you know, like for us it was really important, as Yannis was saying, to have this close connection between the artist and the gameplay, because it's really, sometimes the functionality or the gameplay works, but it looks shit. That's why it was really difficult to...
1 second, Maria, because now there's game sound over your lovely voice. We have to maybe tone
I'm gonna
down.
head into game real quick.
Okay, then head over.
Person I can switch over. But please.
You cannot.
Switch off.
What?
Wait a minute. 1 second, sorry. I just want to start here without the interface on top, but
Yeah,
I
good.
can't.
It's done so.
Well,
Can you switch down the music maybe a little
yeah,
bit?
sure. I need to go back there. Like this probably?
Yeah, I think this is okay.
Right.
Okay, now let's switch to the game. Maria, Yannis, and Stefan, you're still with us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So maybe 1 second. Maybe we also start. Yeah, we switch back. Sorry.
That's the first
Screen share
of the
of
day.
mine.
So. Screen share?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Now we are back, so you should hear some lovely music in the background right now, and we will have a look at the game now. So, first things first, what you're going to see here is still very, and highly work in progress. So you will see bugs. This is, this is gonna happen. You will also see maybe graphics or animations that are not final yet. So just a quick heads up. Nevertheless, we are very happy that we can show you, well, the recent build. And yeah, we will start pretty simple with level 1 actually. Although there is a level 0, we will skip that and use level 1, right?
Yes, I would say so. Level 0 is like a little prologue and something, but something you can explore yourselves, then it's out.
Exactly.
Do we want to watch the intro? We could watch the intro.
Yeah, let's watch the intro, come on. I mean, it's a beautiful cutscene.
Also something that we didn't talk about yet, it's the 2D drawn cutscenes, which are pretty beautiful if you ask me.
Yeah.
Like very well drawn. They tell the story in a very emotional way.
They do.
We are really happy. This was a collaboration between Juan and Jade and Yaro, and they did a really beautiful job with the animation, and it really sets the mood right.
Yes. It was also quite hard to tell the story without using any
Dialogue and voice, yeah.
So definitely an interesting thing that we are not having any dialogue in the game, but communicating everything of visuals and animations to make it accessible for everyone, so that we don't have a barrier of speech. We have text and localization for sure, but also for many languages. How many languages we have?
15?
A lot. We have a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's around
We have
15,
a lot
yeah.
of localization for getting it available, but yeah, it was also interesting to see to get everything without using hardly voiceovers and stuff like that.
Yeah, for us it was really important, the visual aspect, and it's a visual storytelling. And of course, quite often people say, but how can you make sure that everyone knows what is going on? And yes, it is possible. I think you don't need to get everything. Maybe if you play it a second time, you will find smaller details or different things, like in any game. Go and explore and you find out. And I think the key element that the boy wants to get out, he wants to find his mother, is really the basic thing you need to know, and everything else is building up, making it more rich for you. It makes it more beautiful the more you stay in their level and explore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, and that's really good that it's so accessible. So we don't have to do a lot of translations. On the other hand, we basically are doing that, but for a lot of languages then. So we can make this game accessible to pretty much everyone. This is great. Now, let's talk about light and shadow. This is because I think this is something that we can show now pretty well.
Yep. You can see just to show you what we see here is the view cones that we talked about, the vision radius, and here you can see very well how you should use the shadows to hide from the monks, right?
Yeah, initially the idea was to have dark shadows everywhere that you can hide in, but then we are in the desert. You can't have shadows that dark outside, and we tried it. We had it set up. Oh, let's see how dark can we do the shadow outside. But to have a dark shadow like this was impossible. And that's why we then said, okay, when you're outside, it's rather more where you hide, but about shadows. So it had to change due to.
So basically, two different rules: inside of rooms or in the darkness when you're at night, for example. You can hide in the shadows. If you're outside, you're using obstacles to crouch and to hide inside. So two different tactics, basically. And they are mixing up in later levels. But yeah, this is pretty much a difference to make it possible to have a stealth level in light areas.
Yep.
Yeah, next time, no desert for stealthing in shadows.
Although we do have desert levels, right? But there's also, they are done pretty nicely with a twist. So will we reach them?
Not today, I think, no. We will mainly sneak through the monastery that we discussed, like that you could see pretty much if you can see the graphic concept that we saw with the labyrinth in front and the monastery. That's where we're starting at the moment.
The time lapse, yeah.
And we're making our way down from the top of the monastery where his little room is, down towards the garden and labyrinth area. And then we would go outside.
What are the blue things? What are they doing?
These are checkpoints at the moment. Like this is a checkpoint, for example, where if I get caught, is where I would start over again.
Ah, okay.
And now I need to run because I need to make it in here.
Right.
Wow! Been practicing or dealing with the game?
A little bit.
I have played this enough to know if I can make something or not. If I can make the time.
One other interesting bit with the bird view is that you can also get hints of objects that you can interact with. So you see hiding spots, crouch spots, and so on.
Yeah, for example, here you can see on the top screen you can see another checkpoint, and left to it or right in front of me, pretty much, there is the curtain, which is has this little blue V on top of it. This indicates hiding spots or interaction spots where you can move objects or something like that, or crouch to or hide in. There's the vast majority of stuff you can do on these sites.
And coming back to the bird view, what Stefan was mentioned is like a little companion that Hijo was given by his mother in the level 0 that we didn't play. And he is supposed to help him to find his way around, as Stefan was describing, with hideouts and enemies and so forth.
Yep. It's something that the player can just, if he doesn't know what to do, you can use the bird view to get an overview of the whole level. Because as you said, later on they get pretty huge. So it's you can get on a high point and kind of use the bird view to find your way around, find checkpoints that are also a little bit of a guidance where you should head. As always, if there's a checkpoint,
definitely
it's
helpful,
good
I
to
would
get
suppose,
there.
yeah.
And this also helps to find children throughout your duration that you can talk with and inspire them to kind of follow what you do and try to escape from the monastery, the monks. For example,
Yeah, this is our second storyline in the game. It is not the main key one, the one to find the mother, but Hijo evolves to a little hero of the children that are being used for work in our game. And and he's inspiring them, as Felix was saying, to hey, get out, don't accept what you are supposed to do, be your own boss, and fight.
I could have made it.
It's okay. Don't risk anything and blame yourself. Blame yourself? Make a fool out of yourself. That's the right thing. And we have a first question out of chat. Hi, when can we see the demo? Unfortunately, we do not have a demo for El Hijo. I'm sorry. We will see whether there might still come a demo or anything, but for now, we don't have any. Nevertheless, what you can still do is head over to Steam and wishlist the game, so you get the news of the game up front and at the very first. And be the very first to get it. Sorry.
Also, while we're at it, you can ask questions in chat anytime now. While we're playing, the devs can answer your questions. They will also be in Discord later, if I'm not mistaken, to answer your questions. So if anything comes up, if you want to know anything, just hop over to Discord. Maybe you can. Do we have the link here?
Yes, we do have the link.
Ask the devs. Ask while we're streaming if you have any questions, anything you want to know, any insights you want to know. Just fire away, and we will be happily answering them.
Just to here in level 3, what you just saw was that you are now able to throw. Like this, you were not. So it's one of the next steps in Hijo's development. That at the beginning he was more sneaking and hiding inside, and now he is starting to throw. So he's actually getting more like he is trying out more. You know, like that you can now divert the attention of the different NPCs to the monks, the enemies. That you can lead them somehow. That you can pass the level.
Yeah. Use different tools to make your way through it. Manipulate, as we said before, the environment to find the best path to get past all of them.
Indeed.
Maybe we can have a small moment in the aiming. So if you're starting the aiming, that we can explain a bit the visual. So you see these blue big radius. This is the impact radius of the stone. So we have different materials like stone, wood, or whatever, sand, for example. And this has different noise that it creates. So on later levels, for example, sand is really taking the noise. So it's really small radius, pretty hard to distract people far away. But for example, in the first levels with stone, it's much easier to distract people. The red circle around.
We'll come back to it. I just want to show how distracting works. Oh.
Not even close.
There you go. There's your red circle again.
So yeah, the red circles basically are the area where if you intersect with the noise, that they will hear you.
Yep. You can
and
see
also when you're running into them in this red circle, you also get caught.
Yep, you can
Like
see.
it's
You can see if once the radius intersect the noise radius and the fundament, they're gonna start blinking. So you will have a clear indication of that the monk is gonna hear what you're doing at the moment. Right, Maria, sorry, you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to talk a bit more about the kits, that you can collect them. Like in every, starting from level 2, there are some kits that you can find, and this will also unlock artwork in the gallery that you can have a look at if you like. It's like a little treat for the players that are going and exploring the levels. It's not a need for the story, it's not a need to complete the game, but it will enrich your gameplay, because also if you collect all the kits, you will get something different at the very end of the game, and it's like trying to go and explore.
I have also something about that. The interesting thing is if you're freeing these kids through the whole story, you're also getting small stories. So for example, this one here where she puts potatoes in the sack and gets a bit, let's say, informed by Hijo to do not the thing that she needs to do. So being more free willing, be more a kid, be more against the things that
the authority.
Mix some stones in there.
Yeah. So it's pretty nice to, if you like, to watch these detailed stories and also find these kids later, like Maria said, and play with them again.
Also, isn't easy to get all the kids in like one playthrough, right? So especially in the later levels, you need to basically know your way around the game already. So especially if you're maybe then playing for a second time, that might be a goal for you to achieve, to get all the kids and inspire them.
Yeah, there's quite some detours you gotta take to free some of them, but it's pretty much Hijo's mission, kind of like he wants to escape, but he also wants to help others to do the same. So there's a few detours you need to take to free all of them, but it's pretty much worth it because you get stuff.
We don't call it detour, we call it that you experience because things were common. I took pictures.
Exploration.
More explorations. Yeah, there's different paths to pretty much most of the levels that you can take. Like, there's no, you need to go that way.
Oh.
I kind of want to go around.
Felix, what's happening? Are you getting too confident? Huh? I noticed.
Nah. I just wanted to take a few different routes then.
I'm sure you can play it already with your eyes closed. Huh?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Oh no.
What?
Yeah, that was what you talk about. I made a little too much noise while running past that guy, and he noticed, and it was pretty close that he almost caught me.
I saw it, yes.
This is a nice little detail with the chili, putting chili into the soup to make it too
Extra hot.
Yep. There's a few quite fun stories in there. I think little interchanges between Hijo and the kids. There's a few fun things in there.
So, Hijo is also a little rascal, kind of.
Yes. He's not only escaping, he's making their life harder.
Ooh. We made it. And I also like it how like all the different gameplay elements get introduced level by level. So you were casually just hiding in the vase before. Now you can push some boxes, and all the different elements are coming together level by level. So it's really good.
I think there's a question.
There is a question. Will there be an episode where you need to move through the shadows of moving people, not just through the shadows of standing objects?
We have the bisons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. So, yeah, not necessarily people.
People might be the wrong word.
All good, all good. Yeah, not necessarily people that you might be trailing or hide behind their shadows, but there are a lot of different elements in the game besides like static shadows coming or getting created by the sun. So yeah, definitely. The bison is definitely one of that. We will not see that, but we saw, if I'm not mistaken, Maria, we saw the bison at Gamescom. Last year, right? I think I played through that level with you together, sitting on the couch in a live stream.
No, we were talking about it because it's like somehow related to, I don't know, for me it's like Ulysses, you know, the guy that is in the cave with the Cyclops that he blinds, yeah, and then he's checking the tops of the sheep when Ulysses tries to get out of the cave. And so the idea was Hijo is hiding inside the bison or behind it, so you can actually below the bison. You hang underneath the bison, and the bison retrieves you from A.
Yeah, portal the hideout in technical fields. Was pretty nice to make, but yeah, so for every viewer that is like to see that, I would say watch the video from the Gamescom last year, huh? Because
I think we will also maybe show the new bison maybe later that year, definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So there will be a lot more Hijo coming up, guys, so don't worry. We will keep you covered.
This part I struggle with always.
There's still a part in the game that you struggle with?
Yes. Oh, I think.
I'm disappointed.
Yes.
How many hours?
300.
Seems about right.
Oh, I made it.
Whoa.
Easy.
good one.
Nice.
Smooth. That's
Very smooth.
Cool.
I lost track. In which level are we now?
This should be
level 6, the library.
Yeah, the library.
Library is
6.
One of the most interesting concepts that were made, and it's really interesting how all the ways that you can go through this level are ending up. So there's not only one way to solve this level, there's multiple ways.
Yeah, there's a lot of freedom to it, right? So you can kind of choose your path and yeah, make your life easy or maybe take a harder route. But in any case, you can find your own ways through the game.
Yeah, this level especially is like there's a lot of ways through this level.
Any speedrun strats already that you guys worked out? So the perfect
really.
path.
I mean, I could try to take the perfect path through this level, but it's kind of hard.
Okay, then don't.
Not the fastest thing to speedrun, I think.
Especially for level 6, it's pretty interesting. We thought about a few achievements for the game, and we thought about the puzzles and how it could be interesting to add another challenge for players with these achievements to play the game. So watch out for that. It's pretty interesting. Let's say challenges to play the game to achieve the achievements.
What would be one? What would be one achievement? Maybe you can spoil that. We allow it.
For example,
Can we spoil?
Yeah, sure.
For example, don't use stones in a specific level.
Oh, okay. No, that's definitely challenging then, because the stones are your main way of trying to distract the monks, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Or shoot out all lights or something in one level. That there's a lot of lights, It's
That was a little. Can you go back maybe?
Yes.
Oh, it looks so great. Just sometimes we just have to stand there and enjoy the scenery. I mean, it's so cool having this little.
What's
How
the
would you
solar
call
model?
the solar diorama
solar
thingy?
system.
Solar system going around. Oh, it's
actually
good.
Cool.
Okay.
And it's basically the fun fact is that all the rotations are based on the real thing. So it's definitely fastened up, but the relation between the planets and the movement is on the
Okay. So the real thing, basically.
If we would use real time, it would be so boring, but to speed it up. But this was a detail to put it in that we all have the same or the right rotation.
I mean, the game is full of all those little details.
I played a lot and I didn't know.
Yeah.
we need.
Always more stuff for you to discover. Oh.
Close call.
No, but I think that is one of the things that keeps us still going, like if you work with something like this for 4 years, it's like sometimes you think, oh, you had enough, but here is so much variety, so much love as well put in that, hey, the music, the character is reflected in the music, you hear the monks, you can see now, this was Stefan was saying, it is so much like a little detail in it that even now we are still like full of passion with it. Like we have fun doing it, and we feel sometimes sorry for Felix, but love you.
Not the perfect.
You gotta showcase the chase somehow, right?
Yeah, that's true. I thought you would still be able to make it.
Yeah. If there was a little bit a bigger shadow in front of the vase where they lost sight of me, I might have made it. But
not this time.
Can you see me back here? No, thank God. Yay. First try.
Yeah, but don't feel sorry for Felix. So it's his job.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fun.
He can handle it.
Don't say that.
How much time do we have left? Like 10 minutes?
Yeah, around 10 minutes.
Any more questions?
So far, there's not a lot of questions coming in, so I would say we can just use it to play a little bit more. It's all good. Oh.
Just a shadow, don't worry. Don't worry about me.
The bongs. Ah, and there's now the...
Oh yeah, the huge organ. And the window. I like
yes, with the colored glass.
I need to go.
Yeah, no, we can definitely see that there's a lot of artistic effort going into it.
But musically, this was one of the most complex ones to make because you have this huge organ where the NPC is playing at the bottom, so it's now quite loud up there. And while you go down, the music changes and the perception of the player changes with the music. And there are NPCs that
We could showcase that even. We could just have to tune up the volume a little bit, Felix.
Yeah, but I cannot do it in game.
Ah, okay.
I need to exit the game.
Then we don't do it.
Maybe that's the environmental thing is also, I think, better experience when you're in the game as yourself. I think.
it's because there are some NPCs that have notes above their head and they cannot hear. So this is also a part of the gameplay where they want to make the piano at the bottom, the organ at the bottom. So you can't distract him or any other who are whistling. Maybe you can't distract them by noise. So if you throw stones at them, they will not be distracted.
Yep, you need a different solution for those guys. For
There
example,
will
I can
be
show you. This guy's not gonna.
He doesn't care. He's playing the organ. He's going ahead.
In his element.
He's in his element, definitely.
But there will be different tools. This is also an interesting bit that while you're evolving as a in the story as a Hijo and also as a player itself with all the abilities, you're getting new ways to distract or manipulate the people to solve the puzzles. So this is pretty interesting, for example, for these monks that cannot hear you, for example, or other NPCs with different abilities.
I think it will become clear in the next level. Once you get out, then you see the next toy you get.
Oh,
and
yeah.
with this toy,
Yeah.
you will be able to then distract the people that can't hear. So everyone, they are whistling, they are not paying attention. You're singing, you're not hearing. And how do you distract them? And then with the next toy, you will see how you do that.
Will we make it?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, Felix is on fire.
Maximum
here.
focus now.
No.
Okay. Maybe a question in between. What was the hardest thing to develop in the game? What was the biggest difficulty you had?
I think it is different for everyone working on the project. Like, for me, it was quite difficult to find compromises, between the artist, the game player, and the story, but also from the individual. Like, imagine your artist brings the most beautiful artwork or the most greatest music, and then you say, "Oh, this is fantastic," but it doesn't fit the game. That is really difficult. It's really something you need to communicate a lot, and with this communication, it's really or it's really important in our team to be flexible, to listen, because then we say, okay, why is this puzzle so fantastic, but it's looking not nice? Then we need to discuss it, and this is really how we work. We work that we talk about the stuff and say, no, this is not good. This doesn't help us. It helps us to say it is not good because of this, and then the people can go fix it, and it's their creative freedom to how they fix it. They are the experts. We can point out, or I can point out, or Yanis points out, this is not good here. It doesn't make sense, and then the people will go back, artists, musicians, everything to get the best result.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So especially the creative people, they are so in the element. They're putting so much effort and so much detail into everything, but sometimes you can't just use it. I mean, we also have that all the time, right? When you're like developing a new model and it has, I don't know, 100,000 vertices, and you're like, yeah, performance, please. and then the artist has to rework the stuff, or you have a lot of effects going on because you're, I don't know, you. Oh no, Felix!
Exited the wrong way. Well,
so close. Go through the maze again.
Yep.
Yeah, so you start the game, you're putting a lot of effort into effects, particle effects and whatever, and at the end, when everything is coming together, you realize, wait, this is too much. We have particle effects everywhere. Everything is blinking. We cannot use that. So that's definitely a good point that you made. So finding a compromise in there between artistic detail or like the whole passion and like real stuff that you can make, so that it still runs well or doesn't cause any other issues.
But also the level of quality, you know, like if a model is not looking good, or El Hijo, you don't know how many times it was redone. He was, I think, level 1 more than 50 times, you know, it was just not good enough, not good, not being, we're not happy with it. And this is what we are really grateful then here, that Honig allows us to have this freedom to say, okay, we go back. And I think we had different tools we used to build the levels. I think we had up to level 15 everything built. But then we said, oh, we are not getting any further with these tools we've got. But there's a new tool just came out. With this one, we can look into cracks in the floor. We can look into different things, and it's not killing the performance. It's actually working better. And then they say, let's start all over again, you know. And that was really,
that's the thing, yeah. Development evolves. All right.
At the end, I think
also,
it's worthwhile.
I wanted to make it to the guy on the right to showcase how you can manipulate guys you can't hear with a toy. And while we're at it, because we're talking about art, did you actually experiment with different art styles? Like, as kind of a last question, or did you straight away knew you wanted to go with this art style for El Hijo?
No, we knew straight away. It's actually one of the first things we did was story and art. And then, I mean, apart from the Duplo, of course, actually that was the first thing we did. But yeah, art was one of the very first things we did, to just have, I mean, most of us are very visual thinkers, so it really helps to know where this is going. So yeah, art didn't actually change.
Okay.
I think the Stefan had a lot of challenges, and that was a great thing for a programmer. Like for me, when working with people, it's important to be flexible, you know, like not to, okay, this is one structure and this is how we stick. Stefan did amazing things to say, okay, this is how the gameplay is evolving, this is how we work, let's see how we can make this happen. And this is like something that is really important for us to see what works best for the project, and not then saying, sorry, but this is not happening. No, it doesn't work like this. We say, if it's possible, we make it happen, you know, and that's really something that is fantastic, I think, from the entire team, that everyone is open to discuss and find the best solution.
And there's also one thing that I want to mention about difficulties in production. From the technical side, it's definitely performance and shaders on the different platforms. So figuring out which platform has which variables, how they interpret that, and stuff like that. We have the luxury that we have a multi-platform engine, but there's still adjustments that we have to do specific to the platform, make it run as smooth and as nice as possible.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is also one of the challenges, and in the background, Felix and I were just quitting the game and switching up to you lovely guys again.
Yeah, we could see how the toy soldier works. That you can direct them into a certain path because they want to investigate what is running around in front of them, and that's one way to manipulate, for example, the guys who can't hear anything. It's just something I wanted to show, the use of a different toy. And I think
definitely. All right, guys. we made it. That's like 1 hour. That flew just like past us. Thank you for being there with us. It was great talking to you and having in-depth insights about the development of El Hijo, a Wild West tale. So yeah, guys, for all the others that are still watching, you can wishlist this game right now on Steam. And you can also head over to the Indie Arena booth online and walk over through our booths and check out all the other different games that we still have in store for you. Up next, we will have Townsman VR. So yeah, stay tuned and have fun with the rest of the stream. Rest of the stream. Yeah, one letter makes a big difference. So thanks again, Yannis, Stefan, and Maria. So yeah, you guys will now be available in Discord, and if there are any other questions that you have for the developers, head over to Discord and just, you know, shoot out your question. That's basically it. Now I will switch over here, and yeah, I will say goodbye. Anything else to add?
No, thank you for watching. It was fun. It was also learned stuff. So see you.
Bye bye.
Bye.